Hey guys, what's up? It's been like crazy long. Yeah, hey, how y'all doing? um, so I know it's been a really long time. It's been a while, and we're so sorry. Life has been life has been life. So there's just a lot going on. There's been a lot going. Seems like every time things would slow down, something would happen and things would pick up. Even today, Sydney is not with us here during this podcast. She'll be back soon though. Right now she's actually at work, but we really felt like it was important for us to put something out. We haven't put content out since January. And that's a really, really long time. So we really just both felt it would be best if we could get something out. And I was like really, really hype. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about today's topic. I actually did way more research on this than I think I've ever done. It's a little social commentary. But we just really wanted to get something out to our beautiful subscribers. We're at 18 subscribers, so welcome anyone that's new. Thank you for your love and support. If you're new here, welcome to, well, this is just one half. This is Anastasia. This is one half of the Unfiltered podcast duo. But welcome. We want you here. We love you here. And we have fun here too. So, subscribe, subscribe and hit that like button. This feels so weird. It feels weird because I'm doing it alone, and then it feels weird because that's just something I'm still working on getting comfortable with. So yeah. Usually Sydney would give a question about wall decor. I'm going to leave that to her. That is her thing. I'm not going to take that from her. Hopefully we'll hear from her soon. We're going to try to get a podcast out to you guys soon together. But I have been freaking out. First of all, spoiler alert in this episode. Because I know last time we were here, we talked about Wonder Woman. And we were talking about we had an episode called That Scene with Wonder Woman. And it was about Cheetah or Barbara being like villainized for her fighting her attacker, and how her fighting back, they used that as a way to say she was losing her humanity by fighting back against her attacker or assaulter. It's just crazy. So if you haven't seen that episode, please check it out. It was our first time kind of branching out and doing like social commentary based on like not just a subject, but off of like a movie. And that scene actually ruined the movie for me. And Sydney, I know we were both just really disappointed. But today's is spoiler alert for Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 4. So if you haven't seen that show, please don't, I don't know, if you're going to listen to the show, I guess. I mean, if you're going to watch, what am I trying to say? If you're not going to watch the show, but you still want to hear like my thoughts, feel free to stay, grab some tea, and it'll be great. And you should still enjoy it because it's just social commentary. I'll explain like the scenes or the situations I'm basing it off of. If you're watching the show, you haven't gotten to episode 4, what are you doing? Why haven't you watched it yet? That makes me sad. Please go watch it. Please enjoy it. It's really good. Or binge watch the whole season. I've watched episode 4. I think I watched it 3 times just to watch it. Realized I wanted to talk about it. So then I watched it 2 more times to take notes and to like pull out little things. Yeah, so let's jump into it. It's, again, spoiler alert for, also, I guess spoiler alert for Infinity War? Yeah, it's Infinity War. And I guess even spoiler alert for, Captain America, was it Civil War? like the end credit scene. If y'all haven't seen those, okay, please get it together and please watch those, because like, goodness gracious. But yeah, so I mean, if you're really like, oh no, I'm new to Marvel and I'm trying to catch up now, you might not want to listen to this one. But yeah, so let's get into it. So there's like a few themes. There's like, okay, so I think I'm going to do this in like 2 parts. So I have themes for each part that I really like want to tap into, and like talk about a little bit. So, we'll see how we go. I did take notes. Yay! I took notes, but I kid you not, the notes are so all over the place. Let's hope I can figure out what I was trying to do, because in my excitement, I was just had too many ideas at once, and too many thoughts at once. So, first, one of the themes, so the story even starts off with Zemo kind of talking about supremacy. So you know that like supremacy is a part of it. Okay, I'm so sorry. Even before we get into that, I do want to say, this is like my disclaimer. Everything I'm talking about is going to be my opinion, my observations. They're my observations as a Black woman in America in 2021. So that's what it is. I don't have a lot of, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, let's quote this article written by this professor at Harvard. I'm not doing that today. It's just going to be based off of like things I've noticed, things I've observed living in this country and things like that. And like I said, it's a social commentary on the episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So anyway, back into it. So like Zemo like starts off the episode talking about supremacy, because you know Zemo is like not into the super soldier program. How he said that's pretty much just supremacy. And he is the main one who talks about that throughout the whole episode. It's like Zemo, he like mentions it here and there. So in this episode we have we have Sam, we got Bucky, we got Zemo teamed up. And we have Carly and the Flag Smashers. They're teamed up. And then we have America's Proud Boy, John Walker. Yes, I called him a Proud Boy. That is who he is. That is how I see him. He would have definitely been at the Capitol riots. He would have been there. He would have been the first one to show up. He wouldn't have been, I don't think he would have taken like Nancy Pelosi's podium. I don't think he would have like sat at her desk or still alive. I feel like to me, John Walker would have been the dude smearing shit on the wall. I'm just saying, that's what I feel. He would have been the one smearing his feces on the wall in the Capitol. Okay, I'm gonna stop. All right, I'm done. Okay, so it's just a lot, but it's interesting because Zemo's talking a lot about not white supremacy, but talking about supremacy. And I feel like another theme that comes out throughout the entire episode. You see like this, almost like, for me, I feel like supremacy is insecurity and fragility, wrapped up together into this horrible, aggression, hate-filled thing. But you see, what am I trying to say here? So you just see that throughout the whole episode. But what I really loved about this episode was the differences between John Walker, not so much Battlestar. Battlestar was the one that was keeping him kind of on the straight and narrow. We're not even going to get into the trope that plays into with Battlestar, but at least not in this episode. And then you have what's his name? So you have Falcon or Sam, and you have Bucky, and then you have Zemo, and then they're pretty much the opposite of John Walker, even Zemo, because you know he's supposed to be the villain, sort of. He's more like a Loki type villain, in my opinion. I'm not sure. But the way that John Walker empathizes, he doesn't empathize. But the way if you compare his, like the way he has empathy and the way that he, relates to people, the way that it's like the way they relate and their empathy are so completely different. So you have Zemo, and it's so dope because Zemo is rich. He's a baron. But his relate, like there's a scene where he is trying to get information about where Carly is going to be, and Zemo is talking to like these kids, and he walks up, he's singing Baba Black Sheep, which was really interesting, and then he has Turkish Delights, and he sits and he brings them something that they would like. He knew they would like it. He knew that was something that they would want. He's singing a song that's familiar to them that he knows is a nursery rhyme. It's a nursery song. He's singing that singing that out loud, which also brings a level of relatability when you're singing a song kids know. And it's also like a song like that it's a lullaby. It's a lullaby. It's a kid's song. It's something that you would relate warm feelings to in that situation. And then he brings the Turkish Delights, which would definitely grab their attention. He gives it to them, and then he immediately relates to the death that occurred in their community by talking about his son. And I just found that amazing, just the way he did that. It showed empathy that he had towards them. Even though he was against their cause, he was still able to find empathy in himself and relate to the loss that they were experiencing. And I just, oh my gosh, I thought that was so, so awesome. And it's great because he also has a conversation with Sam, and they're talking about he's talking about the supremacy of the Avengers and how they all need to be getting rid of, and Sam is also again appealing to him, relating to him, having empathy for him. And it's just, there's a lot of that in this episode, this really awesome empathy between some of, not all the characters, but some of the characters. And I just found that really, really interesting. And then my favorite scene of this episode, it's tied with the other scene later on, but my favorite scene in regards of just dialogue, no action really, was the scene between Sam and Carly. Oh my gosh. So Sam goes in, he sees the funerals going on. He does not interrupt. He doesn't even go to where all the people are. He goes above where only pretty much she catches that he's there. Lets her know he's there, but he doesn't interrupt. He empathizes. He recognizes. I mean, he even mentioned it earlier in the episode. He's like, oh, well, when my TT died, and they had a little joke. And then they were he was and the whole neighborhood showed up. This is probably the same thing. So he already has a way of recognizing and empathizing and relating to what these people are going through, which I thought was beautiful. And then here he is. He goes into this funeral pretty much, waits respectfully, not only waits respectfully, but waits until everyone leaves. Waits until it's just him and Carly. He doesn't, he patiently waits for her. And the dialogue in the scene is so good because it's very much, it seems like an older brother talking to a younger sister, or a mentor talking to someone they're mentoring. And it's he sits there and she first gets up on the table, which shows that she trusts him. He shows that he genuinely cares about the loss that she suffered. He shows that he genuinely cares about what she's going through. He has been willing to put himself in her position. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then you have her sit up on the table. And the best part, I think, of that entire scene is Sam walks over to her, slowly, cautiously, but the way he sits is with his back facing her. He does not care that she is a super soldier. He shows the maximum amount of trust that he can in that situation to sit, laugh, joke with her. Even when she says something off the cuff, he's wow. He doesn't attack her, start yelling, but he allows her to figure out, oh crap, I said something that was really off. That kind of thing. And it's just this beautiful, beautiful scene. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then you have our proud boy, John Walker, walk in and just, if that's not what I've seen in every Oh my God. And just like anything I've seen, I don't know why Law and Order is popping into my head, but I'm just thinking about like the way the investigators bust into houses and stuff. But just like you see, he just walks in and he's like, all right, we're done here. And it's like, oh my God, it's just, he ruins the most beautiful, magical moment. But here's where I wanted to go with that. The whole thing about supremacy and like white supremacy or even like white male fragility and things like that, I found that so interesting because let me even rewind a little bit. Before they even found out where this funeral was being held, right? John Walker and Battlestar, his sidekick, are like annoyed because they meet up with Bucky, Zemo, and Sam or Falcon, and they're like, what's going on? You didn't tell us. And they're like, calm down. They're like, how'd Zemo get out? And he's like, well, technically broke himself out. And like all this is like banter back and forth. And they're like, listen, Zemo has information we need. That's why we're working with him. And Zemo says, excuse me, my contact is up there to tell us where the funeral is. Now, this is one of the little girls he spoke to when he went and was giving out the candy and he was relating to them. He gave out the Turkish delights. He got information about where Carly's funeral was going to be and pretty much gave her a large amount of money, I guess, and was like, thank you. This will help your family. Gave her the money and was able to have this girl give him the information that he needed. And John Walker's response is, what the heck? Like, he's like disgusted. So we have that. There we see not the first time, but we see in this episode his superiority being undermined. Note by a foreigner. Let's remember that. And a criminal, someone he says is a criminal, able to get the information they need easily without violence. So there he's undermined right there. So now we have this situation. He's given Sam 10 minutes to go and talk to Carly. And he's like pacing around. He can't wait the 10 minutes. He starts popping off. And again, but what I'm noticing here is it's another time like that his superiority is being undermined. This time by a black man going in. He like, it's funny because he seems to only really address Bucky, which rubbed me the wrong way. And he's like, Bucky, your partner's in there and it's going to get hurt. And he's like been trying to manipulate him and mess with his mind and stuff. But it's like, here we have another moment where this superiority is being undermined. And it's like, it's like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to go and I'm going to fix it and I'm going to do it, which is something we see all the time. We just see this all the time. And which is so frustrating. But it's just, again, it's like this scene where no empathy. Because even at one point, Sam is like, yo, I've worked with soldiers. I've worked with vets that have problems, PTSD. And I know how they think and I know what they're going through. I can speak to her. And John Walker's like, no, I've seen them too. We need to just go in. And then Battlestar is the one who's like, hey, dude, actually, let's wait a second. So it's like you constantly see this, like, this need to, in my opinion, be superior, be the hero, be the one. Like, he just has this constant thing. And oh my gosh, it was just really, really awesome. And let's see what we're going to talk about. I think that's all I really wanted to say about like relatability and empathy, like how there's such a lack of it when it comes to John Walker, where you have these other characters that are not supposed to be seen as the heroes in his eyes, in John Walker's eyes. They are not supposed to be the ones to do this great to be able to get the information that he should have been able to get right away. And I mean, he does have a conversation with Battlestar and he's like, I was supposed to be the, what's he saying? Oh, this is my chance to be like good or be the good guy or something like that. And he's talking about him being given the shield, that Captain America didn't give him, the government gave him. So I just found that really interesting. So on to part 2 of what I really just, this is like where I think I get into really hard social commentary. That was more just about how much I love the dynamics between some of the characters and their empathy. But part 2, John Walker and the Dora Milaje. First of all, that scene was so beautiful. so masterfully done. The fight scene where the Dora Milaje come to get Zemo. Oh my God. Just, I felt empowered. I wanted to go do something. I don't know. I just wanted to go be great. They made me want to be great. Watch the scene. If you want to be great, you can look at the scene and be like, oh my gosh, I can be great. No, I just love them. I love the Dora Milaje. I love that they included them. It makes a lot of sense. So, but this is when I get into social commentary. So, here's my thing. So, I already mentioned earlier. So, you have number one, the foreigner Zemo. And like, if we're talking about white supremacy, let's look at white supremacy. When you watch things and you see like the birth of America, let's not get into that. But you see what white supremacists seem to be the most afraid of. It's like black people, not afraid of, but like afraid of losing their power too. It's black people, it's foreigners, it's women, it's weird. It's very weird. But those are like things that they seem to be really just like, it just seems to be like that's their whole thing, is that they need to be better than, they need to be greater than. So we're checking everything off the list in this episode. We've got Zemo, who's a foreigner, who is undermining his authority, undermining his capabilities as someone who is investigative and able to figure things out. You have Sam, who also is able to contact the so-called enemy, I'm doing quotations, and you have, which is just, just like that moment where you're like, wow. So like he's able to actually speak and get through, and was actually making progress before he was so rudely interrupted. And then you have the Dora Milaje. So it's really interesting too, the comparisons that they make. They're having, so in this scene, Sam is, Bucky's like annoyed with Zemo. Sam interrupts and is like, stop, don't worry about it. Don't pop off. He's just going to do the head tilt thing. It's like this cute little moment. And you have Sam, Bucky, and Zemo in the room, and they're talking about winter soldiers. They're talking about super soldiers, and how super soldiers shouldn't, it's back to that conversation about, I told you, like, supremacy was something Zemo was bringing up a lot. And then you have them mention Captain America. They mentioned Steve Rogers, not Proud Boy John Walker. So they're talking about Steve Rogers, and right now it's escaping me. I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was something very positive about the way Steve Rogers was as Captain America. And then immediately John Walker like busts through the door, just, all right, that's it. He's coming with us, starts, making demands. Falcon's like, listen, you don't have power here, which is another blow to him. Like, I really do feel like that statement was a blow. So then, of course, he gets all mad. He's like, I'll put the shield down and make it a fair fight and all this nonsense. Of course, right then, the queens, the Dora Milaje, the queens walk in, throw the spear. He looks scared out of his mind, which anyone would. Jesus Christ. And here we are. Another instance in this episode where his superiority is now being undermined. I don't know how many of y'all know the quote from Malcolm X, but Malcolm X does say something. He says, black women are like the most, like the most mistreated in America. They're the least cared about. Pretty much like we're the bottom. Like we're on the supremacy list. Black women are literally at the absolute bottom. So this is why this whole episode was amazing, because again, I'm sorry I do a lot of backtracking, but backtracking to the very beginning of this episode, this episode opened with Ayo, God, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, with Bucky in Wakanda. And she is helping him, like, obviously it's like the ending of the deprogramming from the whole thing that would turn Bucky into the Winter Soldier and, like, take over his mind. And you have this beautiful scene where he's terrified that he's going to pop off. And she's like, don't worry about it. We got you, pretty much. And he is just like, okay. So she's doing it. He's getting all these flashbacks. And at the end of it, there was this, like, beautiful moment where she smiles like, you're free. And she says, you're free. Oh, can we talk about this black woman telling this white man that he is free from not something physical, but by something in his mind? Listen, there's so many levels to that. This, you know, in Africa, in this African state, being the person, being being caring and caring enough to help him through this process. And, you know, she says, you're free. And then he is like crying from this mind control thing. Why do I feel like that's a whole thing we could jump into? So I just found that very powerful, like something very powerful to open the episode with. So going back to this scene, Ao walks in, throws a spear, you know, and then the fight ensues. Of course, Bucky and Falcon are like, yeah, we're not fighting because no, we're not going to do that. Even Battlestar is very hesitant. He's like, oh, I feel like we shouldn't be doing this, but his job is to protect John Walker. So this fight ensues. A spear goes towards the shield, pretty much making it so the shield is stuck to the table. And John Walker is like fighting, but he's also trying to get this spear out of the table. And then you have them fighting. The only reason why Bucky and Falcon get involved is because they're afraid that the Dora Milaje are going to kill Battlestar and John Walker. So everyone's kind of fighting. Zemo, of course, was like, I'd rather go through a sewer than fight these women. They're not taking me back to Wakanda. I'm out. So he's like, peace, leaves, says, I gotta go to the bathroom, but really escapes through the sewer. So I was just like, that was, he sat there and he watched for a couple of minutes, took some sips of whiskey and was like, yeah, I don't think this is a fight I want to be a part of. And he leaves. And you have this fight ensuing. So, at one point, Ao disarms, literally disarms Bucky. Bucky's arm falls off. And this beautiful scene where John Walker is still trying to get the spear out of the table that's keeping his shield pinned to the table. Another woman in the Dora Milaje pull out the sphere. The shield falls. She steps on the edge of the shield and it goes right onto her arm. The most beautiful. I screamed the first time I saw that. I screamed. I didn't just scream. I got up and I paced my floor. I walked back and forth screaming. Sydney was screaming. We were all screaming. There was just this beautiful scene. So much power. And Ao comes out of the bathroom where Zemo has escaped and she's like, there's no point. Leave it. So the other woman just drops the shield in front of John Walker and they're like, peace out. She says bye to James instead of calling him the White Wolf, which was his name in Wakanda, which did make me sad because I was like, oh no, I think that means she's mad at him. Like, for real mad. So I was kind of sad about that. So, but this is what it was. This whole scene, I feel, was a culmination of, if I'm comparing it to where our world is, where our society is, if I'm taking this and looking at the state of America, the state of white supremacy in America, the state of white men in America that have this, you know, the superiority and everything, this, I don't know how else to put it, guys. White supremacists. Like, it's white supremacy. Zemo says it over and over again. There is one thing I do want to quote from that. So, wow, we're almost through everything that I wanted to say. So there's this quote from Bree Newsome. She's really dope. If you haven't heard of her, she is, I don't know if you've seen the like pictures. There's this black woman who like climbed a flagpole and took the Confederate flag down herself. Cause like, I'm not 100% sure of the whole story. But that's what I know of her. That's how I found out about her. She said something that was really interesting to me about the direction this episode goes in. And she said today, actually on Twitter, she said, racism is so foundational to the organization of white Western civilization that racial equality is an existential threat. Absent racism, whiteness has no meaning. So she's kind of speaking in regards to police brutality, but I feel like the rest of what she says kind of relates. Resistance to things like police abolition is not about public safety, but about the existential threat it poses to ideological and structural whiteness. If there is no longer a police force to help maintain racial inequality, whiteness loses proprietary value. So she's just talking about the way it's just something else that I think I put in other words, if like white supremacists, white men, or, you know, I know there's women in there too, can't see their skin color, and I would also add gender, in my opinion, as superior, then they have nothing. And that's where their insecurities, that's where that weird aggression comes from, especially what we see in John Walker. And what she's saying, John Walker makes a statement after the Dora Milaje leave, and he says, when Battlestar walks up to him, John Walker says they weren't even super soldiers because they got their asses handed to them, like straight up. The Dora Milaje whooped everybody. They left without a scar, without a scratch, without a bump. They didn't get hurt. They just walked up out of there. They had no problem. Everyone else was out of breath, tired, on the ground, scared. They walked out with no problems. So his response is, but they weren't even super soldiers. And we know we could change the term, they weren't even super soldiers, to something else. Let's be honest. And I felt like that was almost like the final straw for him, honestly, because in one episode, if we're again looking at it, comparing societal issues, comparing like white supremacy, and, you know, if we're saying that John Walker is like a culmination of white supremacy in this country, like, or signifies it or symbolizes it, he's now had Zemo the foreigner, he's had Sam the black guy, and now he's had black women completely strip him of any idea that he was better than them. Because even when the Dora Milaje first get there, he's very rude to them, condescending, you know, that kind of thing. What's funny is they're in a foreign country. The Dora Milaje show up. John Walker says, they don't have jurisdiction here. Dude, you don't have jurisdiction there. You are not a citizen of that country. Speaks a lot about America in the way that we act when we go into other countries and how we view other countries in comparison to ourselves. But you have this scene where he is so defeated and so broken down. And it's, again, this really weird, you can see this aggression's been building throughout each episode, but there's this aggression in this episode. Like, you see it in the way he's pacing all the time, and he's interrupting, and he doesn't want to hear what anyone else is saying. And, so then we have this scene, this final scene, where it almost comes to, this is why I say John Walker is the Proud Boy, and he would have been at the Capitol. You have the scene where they are now, again, going after the Flag Smashers. They're going after Carly. So you have the team of John Walker and Battlestar, his buddy, and then you have the team of, well, Zemo's gone, so Zemo's not there. And then you have the team of Bucky and Falcon, Sam. And they're both at one point, they're all chasing each other, and then they're all in the room. They're all fighting. Flag Smashers who have super serum versus John Walker. Does he have super serum? Does he not? I don't know. I think he does. I don't know. We'll find out tonight. Or tomorrow night. When we watch episode 5. And then you have the Sam and Bucky, they're helping, they're fighting. But you can tell they're pulling their punches. You can tell that they know how far to go, how far not to go. It doesn't seem that way with John Walker and Battlestar. And then you have the moment where Carly is about to attack John Walker with a knife, which is so funny because John Walker says this line where he's like, "What's up with all the knives?" And then you see it immediately clip to a scene of Battlestar getting himself out of bondage with a knife. Interesting. What did he want them to use, if not a knife? Anyway, another topic for another day. So you see Carly's going after John Walker with a knife while another Flag Smasher super soldier has him. Of course, Battlestar jumps in the way. Carly kicks him way too hard because she's a new super soldier. She does not know how to pull her punches. She doesn't know what to do with the strength. She has no training. Hits Battlestar way too hard. He kills him. Hits him against a column. Kills him. John Walker runs over to him. The Flag Smashers run out. Bucky, what did Bucky and Sam do? I think they ran after this Flag Smashers. I can't remember what they do, but they're there kind of. And you have John Walker check Battlestar's pulse. There's no pulse. He gets angry. He runs out. He finds one Flag Smasher, runs out, chases the Flag Smasher, hits him with the shield, disarms him. You know, his back is on the steps, and takes his shield and kills the Flag Smasher with it. Like, just kills him. Like, it's a very haunting, daunting, weird scene, because you've never seen Captain America be this person. But then you have this man that was chosen by America, in a sense, the government of America, to be the new Captain America. And I mean, let's not even get into the fact that Americans didn't even choose Steve Rogers. Someone else did. A German doctor did. All right, that's a whole nother thing. You have, and then oh my God, think about the recruits that, I'm going off topic. Okay. So you have this horrifying scene of John Walker, the Proud Boy, beating this man, blood everywhere. Blood is now dripping off the shield, the symbol of America. Blood is now dripping off this symbol of America. And there was no remorse in his eyes. It was like when he was done killing this man, he put on that shield, surrounded by cameras, surrounded by people, did not care. And if that does not remind you of the Capitol riots, oh my God, I don't know what does. He knew people were watching. He knew, but he also knew he was representation of America. And I feel like he was, in that moment, a representation of America, a very clear representation of America, and a representation of someone who felt like his superiority was undermined every step of the way, and his determination to be greater got him to a point where he was like, I'm gonna just kill this man so that people know, don't mess with me. And I am greater than them. I was able to do something greater. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that scene just, it's just this, it's frustrating, to be honest. I've been reading a lot of James Baldwin and listening to a lot of stuff. So there's a lot going on in my mind, even while I sit here and I talk to you guys and we talk about this. But it just really is insane. Just when you look at his response, again, it was just like, I feel like the Dora Milaje, him losing to the Dora Milaje was like one of the last straws, that he was just like, but they weren't super soldiers. And then it was like he needed to kill a super soldier to prove that no one was better than him. No one was greater than him. I don't know. I guess I'm still trying to figure things out with that. But one thing I do want to say, is like I said, like when he had let me just read what I wrote. I was like, John Walker knew the world was watching when he killed that guy on the steps. Like when he put on that shield, like a Proud Boy would. That's literally what I wrote. And he knows deep down inside he does not have to worry about consequences. That he can kill someone in broad daylight or storm a Capitol and not have to, and have the confidence that his status as Captain America, the symbol of America, white supremacy, the symbol of America, would protect him. And what I feel like my conclusion definitely when it comes to John Walker versus Steve Rogers is that John Walker is most definitely the truth of America. And Steve Rogers is the illusion. Steve Rogers is the propaganda. Like if we're, like I said, we're doing symbolism, we're doing social commentary. I think that's what this is. If that's how we really want to look at it. Like Captain America is what America says they are. But John Walker is who we are when you get here, when you really find out, like that's who we are. It's John Walker. Proud Boy John Walker. That's what America is. That's the true symbol of America. So it's funny also finding out that people were like defending John Walker on TikTok. Sydney was telling me, she was like, there's like John Walker sympathizers on TikTok. And I was like, well, that makes sense. That makes sense that they don't want to see no one wants to see their reflection in John Walker. And what I thought really quick, because let's try to do this in 5 minutes. What I thought was really, really, really funny about this whole thing was something that happened on Twitter the day after. Now I talked about the Dora Milaje. I've talked about Black women being pretty much last on the ladder. And oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated with myself because I did not look it up like I was supposed to. So you have this thing where the Dora Milaje, Black women come in, tear it up. No one wants to fight them. That kind of thing. And like I said, real quick, I think I said it really quickly. They disarmed Bucky, literally. They didn't keep it. They just disarmed him so he couldn't fight no more. And, like that kind of thing. And so it was like, they just did their thing. So what's interesting is I'm pretty sure it was like 2 days later after the release of this episode, I go on Twitter and I see Shuri is trending. And I'm like, that's weird. So I ignore it. I'm like, Shuri's fine. We love Shuri. We stan a queen. And then I go back like a few hours later and Dora Milaje is trending. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why? What is going on? And this white dude, posted on Twitter, and I quote, because I found it, y'all. Okay, but the Wakandans putting a built-in weakness in Bucky's arm is like really messed up. It shows, I wish there was a violin playing behind me. It shows they never fully trusted him and spent years. He spent years trying to finally reclaim his autonomy, only to be undermined in an instant by those who helped. It's just sad. Oh my God. The way Black Twitter came after this man. Oh my God. I mean, there's so many parts, and maybe we can get into that. But I feel like it further drove home the feeling I had, where they were like, so they had to find something to attack the Wakandans for. And they were like, and it was an alarming amount of white guys that were like, that's messed up that she put a failsafe in there. First of all, if we're going to talk about Bucky's arm, why wouldn't you put a failsafe in there? Why? It's your technology. Why wouldn't you know how to disarm your own technology? Why would? Why not? Also, let's talk about the fact that Bucky released the man who killed their leader. Didn't say nothing. He didn't call him. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I just thought it was funny. It wasn't funny, but I'm going to say it was funny too, for whatever reason. I thought it was interesting. That's a better word. Interesting that a couple days, I don't even think it was a couple days, after that episode, these white dudes on Twitter was like, the Dora Milaje are messed up, because they couldn't go after John Walker. They couldn't go after what they did with John Walker, because that's wrong. They can't do that. But the fact that they came after the Dora Milaje because of Bucky's arm and like tried to make them out and tried to vilify these Black women was astounding. I was like, really? Y'all just aren't seeing anything. It was just interesting. So that is what I wanted to be a 20-minute video, a 45-minute rant slash social commentary slash trying to figure out what I wrote in my notes slash fun time with you guys. Hopefully it was a fun time with you guys. I actually really genuinely had fun doing research and looking for this. But yeah, I just found this as a very interesting. I haven't seen any other videos, or I'm not really on TikTok, so I don't know if it's been talked about on TikTok. But I just found it interesting to see all the parallels to the United States and John Walker and to white supremacy and things like that. And I just thought it was cool. And you guys should be used to hearing this kind of stuff on our channel by now. We're 6 videos deep now. So that was a quick one. Well, not quick. It's 45 minutes. But I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Please please comment if you disagree with me, that's fine. Comment, let's talk, let's have a conversation. We want this to be a safe space for anyone that's subscribed to our channel to talk about it, or if anything's mind-blowing, or if you have other things to include, please do. This is supposed to be fun, and I want to have fun with it. So thanks guys for listening again. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share this with family. Start a debate in your homes. No, I'm good. I'm kidding. That's sometimes choosing violence. But what else did I want to say? You can follow me and Sydney on Instagram. We'll put links down below. Yeah, again, hopefully we'll have the podcast back up with both of us. That is something we really, really want to do. And yeah, we will catch you next time. The thing that I want to leave you guys with is, remember, you cannot change culture unless you are willing to disrupt it. And that's uncomfortable sometimes, but it's kind of the only way that'll happen. You guys have an awesome day, awesome night. Love yourselves. Have a great time. Okay, bye.
Hey guys, I'm just popping in real quick to say and add on to what Anastasia was saying about John Walker. Not only does John Walker fear the power that the black women have, but he also has Carly, a younger woman from England who's running an entire organization with relatively no problems within it. And she's also proven many times that she could beat him if she wanted to. And she also had her people kidnap his best friend, and she did it with no problem at all. It wasn't a problem for her and her friends to just go take his friend and then come back to fight him. And I feel like that also contributed to him killing the boy in the fountain in front of all the people and being perfectly fine with it. Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I forgot to say, I don't think Anastasia asked any questions during the podcast. Do you know if you have any questions? Drop them in the comments below. Also, drop in the comments your favorite type of pillow to sleep with.